So, I get friends that get mad at me and annoyed with me, and neighbors that get annoyed with me when they ask if they can borrow a tool, and I say, no, you can't borrow my tools, and this is exactly why. Normally I don't loan out tools, because people, when they borrow tools, they never look after them. I made the mistake. I just discovered that this wasn't working when I went to use it yesterday, so I had to go get my other. I have a couple of these. I had to go get my other one, which I normally keep in my truck at work because I use it for when I'm having to fish fiber in, because it's smaller. This one here I just kept around the house, and I loaned it out to somebody that needed it to see inside. They were going to use it to see inside a duct, looking for a problem in a heating duct. And when I loaned it to them, everything worked. And then I get it back, and he says, well, it doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? It worked fine when you got it. I even showed him how it worked. I said, listen, you just hook it up. It's foolproof. You just hook up the camera and turn it on. And I showed him that it worked, but he insisted it doesn't work, and when I get it back, it doesn't work. So we're going to figure out what was done to it. Obviously, it got broken, but how it got... Oh, well, look at this. Maybe this is where the problem is, right here. That's supposed to be screwed shut. What's going on here? This is the battery in here, but there's no reason to take the battery out. What has been done to my borescope? Okay, well, there's the battery. Let's just check the battery, make sure it's charged, for starters. It worked fine when I loaned it out. Now, this was 6 months ago, so I haven't needed it and I haven't done anything with it, but let's just check the battery, make sure the battery's charged. Maybe the battery is flat. Well, isn't that interesting? The battery is completely flat. Well, could it be just that the battery is dead? We'll put the battery on charge and I'll dig another one up, see whether that's what's wrong with it. I grabbed another, this is a fully charged battery. I'll never get this one out of here if I have to take it out. I'll better take this off. I have a feeling it's more than just this, but yeah, it's not turning on, and the light doesn't turn on it, so I think there's more wrong with it than this, but I think that maybe he was messing around with the battery and buggered something up in here. Like that should turn on the light. There's a flashlight on here, and that should turn the light on regardless. So there's something wrong with this, so let's figure out what it is. I say this came in with the screw missing, or came back with the screw missing. That has a screw that holds it in place, because the battery can be taken out for recharging. And the original battery I've got sitting in my lithium charger right now. So let's see if I can get into this thing and see what might be wrong with it. And it looks like there's a couple screws on the side here, so let's just pop it apart. You see, this thing's literally new. I haven't even taken the protector off of the screen, because I've only used this thing once or twice since I got it. And I normally use the other one just because it's the camera is smaller, right? So this one was kind of like a spare that I just had kind of kicking around. I kept this one at home. I took the other one to work. Well, there's a reset button on here. Oh well, let's just see where I can get this thing to open up. I have to laugh at this one. Not intended for medical device, you think? I guess they just have to print that on these things, because Because you get someone out there who's not that bright, and they might be trying to give themselves a colonoscopy with with an industrial endoscope. Pretty sure I got all the oh, there's one more screw up here. That's why it's covered up by that plate. That's why I didn't see it. Part comes off. And oh, there's another screw in here. Okay, well that would explain why it's not okay, that part. Okay, now what else is there in here? It's got another screw in here. A speaker. Well, at least I'll be able to see if there's voltage getting up here, because the battery will connect right to, looks like the battery connects right here, so you just disconnect the speaker so that I get a little more wires here, a little more slack on the wire. We'll just disconnect the speaker. Alright, now I can see whether there's power, because there's a battery here, battery positive and battery negative. Well, this will at least tell me whether the battery is making a connection. Maybe that's the fault, is that the battery is not making a good connection. Wherever I did with the battery, here it is. So I'll plug the battery in. And then grab the meter and see if there's any power getting to those pins. So starting place. Alright, battery. Battery positive, battery negative. What? Battery negative, battery positive. What the hell is going on? Is this battery in backwards? Is this the negative terminal? I know that that's the other battery came out in the positive. I wonder if the guy that borrowed it took the battery out and put it in backwards. This almost looks like okay, well, I'll put the battery in the other way. Watch it light up now. No, it's not. If the battery was in backwards, it's probably blown something up. Let's just check the voltage now and make sure that I'm getting the right polarity, because this says battery negative and battery positive. Okay. It might not be making a connection, this cell. Just put some solder around the battery terminal on the negative just to make sure, because I wasn't getting any power. Are we getting power now? I see nothing here, but if I measure here, now I'm getting 4 volts. Battery plus has got 4. Battery negative, and yet nothing's turning on. I think the guy that borrowed it took the battery out to charge it or something and put it in backwards, because when I opened it up, the negative or the positive terminal was facing down, and it looks like that's supposed to be the negative terminal. Because you see, if I take my meter, okay, take my meter and I measure from this one. Battery negative. Okay, so the guy that borrowed this from me obviously took the battery. I'll have to have a chat with him. He took the battery out and he put the bloody battery in backwards. I wonder if the original cell's got a bit of a charge on it now. I'll throw that in. Bloody idiots, you know? That's why you don't loan tools to people, because they don't give a shit. See, when I pulled the original battery out, it came out this way. Positive was down on the bottom. That would explain why the cell was flat, because it's been shorting out. Positive goes in this way. Let's close that up and put some tape across it, because there's a screw that's missing that holds the, maybe I got a screw here I could put into it just to hold it shut. Use one of the screws that hold the thing together just to hold the battery compartment shut. Okay, now let's check our voltage here. Now it's not going to be full, obviously, because the battery, I've only charged it up for a few minutes, but we have 3.5 volts. And I'm thinking maybe something on the board has been cooked. So I'll just pop the board, the reset button. That won't make any difference. I'll pop the board out and just see whether there's any fuse or anything on here. Hopefully there is. Hopefully it hasn't burned something out on here beyond repair. I just find it annoying that I loaned something out to someone I've known for a long time, and I showed him at work. I said, "Here's how it works," and I turned it on and showed him that the thing works, and then he comes back and says it never worked. He says, "Oh, it didn't work for me. I wouldn't turn on." Bloody lying ass. Probably blew something up on the board here. Let's just see whether I can check for a blown fuse or something. Let's see here. What do we got? We got power coming in here. There's got to be a fuse on here somewhere. You would think there's a fuse on here. So there's our power input. Battery. Got a cap across here. Ooh, what do we got over here? Is that a chip that's melted? Almost looks like that chip is cooked, doesn't it? It looks to me like we have a Kentucky Fried chip there. Doesn't that look like internal guts from a chip that's spewed? Sure looks that way to me. Huh. That'd be probably the buck converter. I bet you the buck converter is not worth the buck anymore. Or maybe it's a boost converter, but I think we got it. I think we've got a lost cause here. I'm gonna just write this thing off. We got power across here, or don't we? I was looking to see if there's any opens here. I have a sneaking suspicion that that chip is shot. And this one. Of course, putting a fuse on here or reverse polarity protection, that would just make too much sense, wouldn't it? Battery positive, battery negative. So if I put my negative probe here, my positive probe over here, I should have power on here, and I do have power on the. I have power on the plug, which of course I would, because we've got it on the other side of the board. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. I took a close look at that chip, and you can see it's going to have a hole burned in the bottom of it, guaranteed. You can see where crap is spewed out from below the chip. This chip is shot. If I pull this chip, maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll get my air station out and we'll just lift this chip out and we'll see a big hole burned in the bottom of it. I'll grab my little air station that I've never used. Get my super high performance hot air gun. It's a chip got a hole burned in it? I think it does. Let's get a closer look. I'm pretty sure this chip is cooked. We look real close, right at this edge. I don't know if I can get any closer or not. The camera might go out of focus, but can I go in? I'm all the way in. I'm zoomed in all the way, but if we look right down here, it sure looks like the chip is spewed. There's a little hole burned in the chip right there between those pins, it looks like. And this chip is cooked right there. You can see it right there. So I loaned this borescope to a guy because he needed to do some inspecting in some ducts. Not duck quack quack, but ducts as in plumbing, like heating, air conditioning. And I turn it on and show him how it works when he's picking it up. This was like 6 months ago. And brings it back and says it didn't work. And of course I didn't bother to check it. I tried it when he brought it back and it didn't turn on. And I just kind of, okay, whatever. Set it aside. And now we look at it and I find the battery is installed backwards. And this chip has a hole burned inside of it right there. So this is what this needs to fix it. Now if I'm going to get one or not, I don't know whether I'm going to get one. Maybe I'll try to source this chip. Problem is I'm not going to order just one little chip, right? If I have to get a chip, a lot of these places they make you make it, like DigiKey and stuff. They don't want to sell you one. Now they want to sell you 100, and I don't want to buy 100. I only want to buy one, and I don't want to pay $100 for one, or $20 shipping to get one of the little parts shipped out. So you know that's the predicament that I'm in. Is that you know, well, we know what the fault is. We got a bad chip here, but I don't have one. I don't think I've got one. Pretty sure I don't have one, unless I've got one on an old scrap board. I'll have to look and see whether I've got any little regulator ICs of this type. I don't even know what number it is. See if I can spot the number on this thing. It's not showing up on camera. So the chip is an LP28300, which is a 2 amp synchronous buck. It's a buck converter. It's a buck lithium ion charger. So that's what controls the charge for the battery. And that's, I'm sure, why it's not working. It's a 500 kilohertz synchronous buck converter to reduce power dissipation during charging. Low power dissipation internal MOSFET allows a physical small charger to be embedded in a wide range of handheld applications. The LP28300 includes complete charge termination circuitry, automatic recharge, battery charge current, charge timeout, and end of charge indicator. So input voltage 4 to 18 volts. And anyway, that is what that is. So I guess I'll have to try to find one. I don't know what's going to have one of those in it. I guess I could probably steal it out of one of these fancy flashlights. I got all these fancy flashlights kicking around here. I bet you one of them has got something like that in it. I might even have a lithium-ion battery charger kicking around here that might have one of those. Let me just take a look and see whether I can find one. I guarantee there's more wrong with it than that as well. Look at this chip here. This one here looks like it's also cooked. Look at the leads here, right? Burned. This is the charging circuit for charging the battery, but this one here is probably the regulator circuit, Q4. It's probably the regulator circuit for the unit itself, and it looks like there's a hole burned in that chip there as well. So I'm going to say that this thing is beyond repair. I'm not even going to bother. I mean, this thing didn't cost me anything when I got it. It was sent to me to evaluate, and I did. And so I think I'm going to have to just write this one off. Right? Too bad, because it was a nice little borescope, but it was one that I wasn't really using. I think I've got another one around here too. I know I've got the one I used on the Akai, and that's the good one. It's got the 3 cameras in it because it's got a nice, you know, it's a much smaller camera. This one here is quite big by comparison. If we look at this thing here, I mean, this one's a brute by comparison, but it worked good, you know. But anyway, I think I'm gonna just write this one off because it's gonna be more than just this this chip that's bad. That chip is part of the fault, you know. That's part of it, but I'm pretty sure that other chip, just looking at it, it's got a hole burned in. You can see it. You know, from where I'm sitting, I can see it clear as day. There's a hole burned in the front of this chip. You can see it right there. So, and God only knows what else is damaged. I mean, the idiot that I loaned it to stuck the freaking battery in backwards. How dumb does one have to be? You know, I don't know why. I'm going to have a little chat with him. Ask him what the hell his problem was. Tell him he owes me a new borescope. And I know where that'll go. You know, he'll take the attitude, well, you shouldn't have loaned it to me. And I probably shouldn't. Anyway, okay, I'm done with this thing. This is a write-off. So I just got off the phone with the guy that I borrowed this from me like months ago, right? And I said to him, what the hell did you do to it? He says, nothing. It didn't work. I said, well, tell me then how the battery got put in backwards. Well, I don't know. I said, well, the screw was missing from the bottom of the battery terminal, and the battery was in backwards. So the positive goes in, the negative goes down. And he kind of admitted to it then that he had charged the battery because the battery went dead. And he took the battery out to put it in his battery charger. I said, well, gee, thanks a lot. You put the freaking battery in backwards and you burned it out. I said, you owe me a new one. And he says, well, you didn't pay anything for it. You got it for free. My response was, that's beside the point. I said, I got it for free. I said, I got it for doing a video for them. I said, I could have turned around and sold that thing. Right? I said, I sell a lot of stuff that I get that I don't need. I could have sold that thing and now I can't sell it. Anyway, I'm not getting anything out of him, that's for sure. Cheap bastard. I broke rule number 1. Don't loan tools. Never again. Thanks for watching.